Hi everyone, this is Tanya the Lady Strange. Welcome to another weekly collective reading for this week starting November 22nd, 2025 and going to November 8th of 2025 because that's how I'm guided and how my readings go. And so we are in the beginning of November, the first week. Samhain has just passed, the veil is still thin, the magic and changes and transitions of our lives, our experiences, our magic, and as the seasons and earth changes herself and what we see and perceive. So if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome. Either way, thanks for watching. It's much appreciated. And with that being said, the opening crystal this week I did not cast, but I did pull from one of my many palm stones that I guided from and just intuitively the first one I pulled, which does make sense to what the energy I've already felt and sensed before opening up for this reading, and that is garnet. Now this garnet you can see speckles, so this one is a heart. I'm not much into heart-shaped palm stones, just to be in all honesty. They don't usually work for me. This one did. Now there's white on this one, so I don't know if there's other inclusions or if it was just painted aesthetically. Either way, it carries a lot of the major garnet energy, which is for fire, passion, and will and strength, but also brings courage to our day-to-day experiences and helps to aid in that. It's related to the root chakra and the heart chakra. So a nice marriage of energies that help us as humans and our souls, and whether we're magicians or just people day to day, our experiences, and can aid us this week and guide us if we carry it or just embody the energies, because it is also a stone that's going to help us to have courage and embody our fire and our will and take those inspired actions, and help to integrate our human experiences in what we know, but what we can change, whether it's the smallest things and the smallest choices, because making those smallest choices or not making choices are still a choice in themselves. And taking action or inaction is still a choice in itself, but those small steps will lead to bigger and better foundations, especially this week. And also, besides the fire and passion of that, and being mindful and taking those inspired actions and steps and how they do create the present and into the foreseeable future, Garnet is also saying it's going to bring you into grounded protection. So you're going to ground your will, your strength, and your courage, and use that to continue to protect what you're creating, the life you have, and that you want to have in the foreseeable future. All we can do is the present and maybe perhaps the foreseeable future, whether it's the same day, a few hours, a few days, or perhaps a few weeks. That's the foreseeable future potentially we can plan for. But again, things change. This message is just a collective reading for those that may resonate or apply, or you feel does. Discern what works for you and what doesn't, and what may or may not apply. That's how it is. That's how life is. So, with Garnet said, show love, compassion, but fire and will, and the actions you can take to inspire this week for yourself and others and what truly matters in your life, but grounded, and remember to protect yourself and what you are, have been, and created in your life. No matter what life presents to yourself or what you see in the outside world, you can work with and only control yourself, and in a healthy way, in how you react and respond in your inner world and how you respond to the outer. Your inner world will and always does reflect to the outer world. It's all about more of how you ground and present yourself and what you can and cannot do, and also see those with reality. And with that being said, this week's decks I will be using, I've already pulled cards in the aspect of that I'm filming in my living room to save time, as my readings often get rather rambly, and just to see the energies. That's what works for me and what I was guided to do. Open messaging this week comes from, I believe, Ellen Lorenzo Prince's deck. This is the indie version of the Dark Goddess Tarot. It is a beautiful tarot deck. It is an indie deck, an indie version, I believe, that came out in 2014. It was a gift for my husband a few years ago for my birthday. I do not have the mass market. I've seen many videos of the mass market. It just doesn't fascinate me, but I do want that guidebook. Maybe someday it will, but this deck is great. So the opening message from the card I pulled and from the goddess that just has a message this week. And what I love about this is it's a little white book, but it has one little sentence or frame message or something to put into perspective, so to say, as a little message, much more like an omen deck. This version reads as for me, as a version from the goddess that steps forth. Let's put it that way. So yes, so the Amazon of Fire that came up is the page. Of course, this is a female presenting Dark Goddess deck. I love this. Someday I hope to get the Tarot of the Crown, I believe, of her deck. Still have not been lucky to get that, but it will come if it's meant to come and will, or I will work towards it. So the Amazon fire is represented by Pele, the Hawaiian goddess of the volcano, a very fiery goddess full of energy, potential, the potential to create, and but also to erupt in passion and inspiration. But it also can be, if not harnessed or used effectively, can not only overturn and burn away everything and be very destructive, it can also create what you not want to. But like a volcano, it can turn things to ash, but it's also a form of creation. So she's a form of creation. So she is saying this lovely, beautiful opening message. Pele has a message for us this week. The Page of Fire, or the Amazon of Fire, has a message I'm going to read from the guidebook, the little white book I just showed. And that is, a passionate heart should not be made tame. Sorry, because we all know, if you watch MMA videos, my eyesight and such, I work with what I have, as we each do. And so a passionate heart should not be made tame. So that is saying, do not tame your fire, do not tame your emotions or your actions. And honestly, like Pele, you don't have to explain the actions you have or have not taken, whether it's to others or yourself. No matter how much they demand it, it's also, you are the sovereign of yourself, much like Pele is, and in her role, as are you the sovereign of yourself and your experience. That's a great open message this week, to use inspired action, to use and enact your will, to make the right decisions and actions, but also to realize that maybe anger and destruction is also needed in the day-to-day experience. And if you're having those feelings, they are fine. Don't let others suppress you or tell you whom you are, or to invalidate you or your experience. And show up with courage. And next, I am using and have pulled cards from I've not really used this deck on the channel or a lot lately, but it is the Santa Muerte. I may or may not said that right, no disrespect to her. Tarot by Fabio Lastrani. I have quite a few of his decks. There's many I still want to get. He is an amazing Italian artist. You can look him up. He's also in a heavy metal band. Tanya loves her heavy metal. So I pulled 3 as I was guided, which came out from the top of the deck. Look at these lovely backings. And if you need to know anything about the entity, there's a lot to look up about her and her gnosis, her experience, her presence, and how she can step forth in your life if you're interested, or if you may feel her presence on that, either way. Sometimes I feel her presence step in and step out for me in my experiences, as deities and entities and guides often do for me. And whether I answer the call or not, that's up to me. But in many cases, they do have different parts, large and small, that play in my life, even inadvertently. And with that being said, the card that came out was the King of Swords, the Ten of Pentacles. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? And the there are my eyes. The Seven of Swords. Now, I love the colors of this deck. They are extremely vibrant. The deck very much carries Santa Muerte's energy and of her culture and how she's revered and how it is celebrated and experienced. I know that Fabio Luciani is an occultist. You can tell from looking at his stuff that he truly interacts when he creates these decks. They're not phoned in. So, with being said, we got two swords in here. And we're going to start with the King of Swords. So swords are air. They are intellect. They are thoughts, logic, wisdom that we hold, the knowledge we hold through experience, but they are also our voice. They're used to protect us. They're used to create, much like the wands. They're also used to discern or cut away what doesn't protect, but they can also cause harm. Now, the King of Swords is saying this week that this collective is presented with using your logic that you have gained through your experience. That what you have learned from books, but that what you learn primarily from experience. And knowing that your logic is, even if it may seem a little cold to others, or you might be a bit off-putting with that, it is one of your superpowers. So be like the King of Swords and stand in your authority and use your logic when you're enacting your will and when you are interacting with life itself each day. Secondly, the Ten of Pentacles, should I say, this lovely card, the Ten of Pentacles. Pentacles are about earth. They're grounded. They are material, intangible things we can see and touch, but that which we can create in the day-to-day experience. So this week is be mindful and discerning, like that King of Swords, what you do have, the knowledge, the experience, the material things you do have, the resources you have, the job you have, the community you have, and what is your family, whether it is blood family or whether it is friends, co-workers, or whatever that may be. The abundance that you have and what you've already created and what you can use, much like this collective has been guided to whom this may apply to. So be mindful that you do have a lot of abundance. You have a lot of resources you can turn to or readjust, and what you actually do have in the material, because there is a lot of abundance, whether it is physical things we can touch, tangible things like finances, or just what makes us feel whole, what we created for ourselves and how we evolved, and others have involved, and those others and things in our life that make the day-to-day material things very tangible and resourceful and help us in the support we have. And lastly, the Seven of Swords. So again, another swords card. Seven of Swords can be seen through different lenses and perspectives, much like any other card can, or any other side of or part of every story. This Seven of Swords, yes, Seven of Swords can be about deceit, someone stealing on this. This is actually saying to take what you have and be clever to get the upper advantage against that which may or may not be working against you, or that is. So be clever. Move forward with swiftness, cleverness, but your personal authority and logic. It is not, you have to make sure you are dotting those I's and crossing those T's, like the King of Swords already knows he has, but using what you have and using it to your advantage, getting the vantage point. Others may be standing there trying to take advantage of you. Do not let that happen. Take what you have and move forward. So that is the message of this week, and the energies that are going to present themselves. A lot of logic and discernment is needed, but using your resources, your community, and being mindful that you already have quite a lot. And using that passion and fire. And finally, two cards came out for the rest of the message of this week, and that is the Sage, which is harmony, acceptance, and patience, much like that Ten of Pentacles has patience, because you've created much, but harmony and the acceptance of that, what you do have and what you do know, and the certainty of that, but that you can discern and properly realign yourself to accept what you can change and what you can do, and accept that what you cannot do. Overforcing things and being overly willful when not needed or when not having the energy is kind of foolish in a way, in the negative aspect of the foolish, and come up. Be the sage, be the king of swords, but to know when to accept and when to take action and bring harmony into your life through logic and your experience and your truth and what you can and can't speak. And the other one is stoicism, and this is peacefulness, receptiveness, and manifestation. So, again, bring peace and harmony into your life this week. A lot of that will show evident by just using the right discernment, the right words, thinking before you speak, as they say, or thinking before you take action, but taking inspired action. And, of course, practicing stoicism in all of its forms and finding peace. And, of course, being receptive to others and being receptive to life's lessons, being receptive and showing receptiveness to what guidance you may have and what you're being shown, and actually bringing that into a healthy perspective versus letting your feelings and perceptions overrule you, as we got no cups in this. But also manifestations, like Pele says, do not let your passionate heart and your passion, or like the garden, be tamed, but use it with discernment and will and taking inspired actions. Overall, this week carries a great energy of patience in what we have and what we continue to create, but what we know and what we can discern, and being an authoritative representative for ourselves and our life, for what we create and what we destroy, what works and what doesn't work. And with that being said, thanks for watching. And if you feel inclined, please like, comment, subscribe, as it helps to know that my message is resonating with others and reaching others as others do reach me. And also it helps the algorithm. And yeah, so with that being said, stay strange.